kicking it with Mia, and we about to get into the recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 13. Y'all, we made it to episode 13. Okay, we getting somewhere. But before we get into it, don't you all forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all the things, baby. We growing and we glowing. Help us now to YouTube out. Come on now. Let go. So we're starting this episode off with Shamea. Shamea is basically, getting things together to send to Grenada because, that they are going to do some charity work or give back to charity because they had a hurricane there. So I thought this was great. She's teaching Shia, her daughter, that look, you have to give, and some people may not have it, or some people go through things and they may not have it, so it's good to give. So she's teaching her that she gotta give, but Shia really ain't trying to hear it, y'all. Shia like, baby, what you doing with my stuff? Where is my stuff going? And Shamea, she says, that her daughters are very blessed, but that she wants them to know that everybody is not as fortunate, which I think that's great. That's amazing. She said she don't want them to grow up bratty. She wants them to know that you are really blessed to have the things that you have, and not everyone has it. So you should give back. She basically, all the girls are giving back. So everybody has come together to give donations. So Kelli pulls up. Kelli got a car full of water, a trunk full of it looked like 24 packs or 40 packs of water, and she has plenty. And she also said she had some more stuff. Drew sent some stuff. Cynthia sent some stuff. Porsha made a donation. All the ladies sent some stuff. And then we have Brit. Don't we just love Brit? Can y'all catch the sarcasm there? But Brit, it's the fact that Brit walked up with a Birkin and a Balmain shirt, pulled up in a Rolls Royce, and she have this big box of stuff that she's donating, right? So, they thinking, the box is full. And so before, she has like this one box, and so Shamea is like, do you need help? Her and Kelli is asking her, do she need help? Because they thinking, we know she got more than this one box, right? Well, no, she don't. She have this one box, and so Shamea basically started taking stuff out the box. Taking stuff out the box while she's there. And baby, it looked like it's just 2 things of tissue that she got from, like, how you buy the big thing of tissue from Sam's and it comes with the multiple packs of tissue. It looked like she had this at home already, got 2 of the tissues out of there, and like a box. I don't know if that was wipes, pads, or what, but a box or something. And it looked like that was it. And she got this big old box to make it look like it's something. So Brit, you could have went to Dollar Tree, Brit, and spent $100 or $150 and came out with some stuff. You could have went to Sam's and you see Kelli had a lot of water. You could have went to Sam's and got the Member Smart Water, Costco, or something. You could have spent at least $200, Brit. I mean, I don't know. She might not got it, but it's just like, for a person that's always bragging, like the last episode, you was bragging about how you got all your people on your team plastic surgery, but then you donating like BS. And I don't want to say, let me just take that. I don't want to just say BS, because the donation of anything is always helpful when somebody is in need, right? But when you're on the show, first of all, when you're on the show and then you want to portray your life as this upper echelon life and you got so much money and you're doing so good, it's like, okay, Brit, you couldn't at least spend $100? Like, girl. But that's neither here nor there. Brit is a fraud. At this point, Brit ain't got it for real. Like, and Brit don't even know how to fake it till she make it. It's just a flop all over. So she goes on to ask the ladies, did they enjoy her event? You know, it was like they enjoyed it. But here we go with Brit. She's making excuses as to why her event was lackluster. And baby, she like, you know, my event planner, if there was me, that's not a representation of me. Baby, the event planner then came out. And I would just say allegedly to all of this stuff I'm about to say. But the event planner came out. She said that she was not a planner. She was not there to plan anything. She was there to just do decor. She says Brit still owes her, I believe it's like $1,700, $1,500, $1,700. Allegedly, Brit still owes her money. And she said that, I think she posted that a text message where Brit basically saying that she didn't have the coin to feed everybody. And this is why I said, y'all, oh, hold on. And the country club allegedly is suing Mike for another $10,000 that where they hosted the event that country club didn't get paid. And it's like, Brit, like I said before in the last video, you could have easily had this event at your house. You could have easily just invited the girls, did a little catered dinner from one of the restaurants, and called it a day. But when you trying to, like, I get the show and I get it's housewives and, you know, you supposed to have that coin. But if you don't got that coin for real, baby, it's ways around it to still make your stuff look good and presentable. But child, I digress. Brit, I told you she a little off in the head, so she probably didn't think that far into it. So then, you know, they're asking Shamea about, you know, how does she feel about Drew? We know Shamea's still mad about Drew and that lapdog comment because Drew doubled down on it. And Drew said that she's not taking that. She's basically not apologizing for that because that's how she feels. And, you know, they asked her about Porsha. And she let the ladies know, you know, her and Porsha had this conversation. They both cried at one point. And they're good for the most part. So we are finally getting the meetup that we've been waiting for, y'all. Because y'all know they done drug this Porsha and Drew out. This whole storyline has been drug out since episode 1, but we're on episode 13. But we are here. Now, whether we really got somewhere, that's a different story. So, Porsha and Drew are finally sitting down to meet and discuss the issue. And, you know, when Porsha walks up, she says she didn't recognize Drew because of her hair. And so she's like, I know that ain't no go naked hair. And so the producer was like, oh yeah, she said it's go naked. Drew done took a picture and tagged go naked. What she got to say? Some mister. Now Porsha, baby, we got, if that's go naked. Well, Drew did say she be having her wig for a while. Maybe that's why. But Drew knows she could have brushed that wig before she got on camera. But anyways, so they sit down and of course they're talking about Drew. Porsha is basically like, you know, I'm ready to get it over with. I didn't sit down and meet with you initially because I was mad. And, you know, I wanted to basically calm down. It took her 13 weeks, I guess, to calm down, but they're weird. So she's just like, you know, she's not, Drew is like, you know, she never messed with Dennis. Drew lets her know that she signed her deal, and Porsha's basically like, I already knew, that's really not important in my life. Just, y'all know how Porsha do. And so then Porsha brings up that Drew is basically, you know, Dennis let her know that him and Drew don't have anything going on, that Drew is actually dating Black. I believe Black is the other producer. And so Drew kind of felt the way about that. She's like, oh, well, you dating Future. They bleeped Future name out. But before they didn't bleep Future name out, Future people probably reached out to the housewives and probably said, don't mention me on none of that. So So they bleached his name out, but Porsha is like, Future, I don't even know Future. I never met Future and all that type of stuff. So Drew feels away because she's basically kind of exposed to her, which I mean, I get it. And so Drew is like, she's going through a divorce. I'm not dating nobody, you know, I have friends, but it's nothing like that. And so Drew is trying to basically get distracted by tea. But Drew, you know, she started letting Porsha know that, like, you know, she don't appreciate her saying that she's dating black on camera and she's going through this divorce. And Porsha is basically like, you know, well, that's what Dennis said, you know, so she just had to put that out there, which I can see both sides. That was just Porsha being petty, per usual. And Drew, if it is some truth to it, and you're going through a divorce, that's bad for Drew on Drew's end. So I get all the shenanigans. So basically, they didn't really get to a resolve. You know, as Porsha was steady trying to talk, Drew was like going in on Porsha, like letting her have it because she really is taken aback about the black comment, and that basically she would say that on TV is what I'm thinking. And so Porsha gets up and leave. Y'all know, like, once Porsha get there, and I'm starting to think, I do think Porsha don't like to have uncomfortable conversations, but I also think Porsha uses the get up and walk away method so she won't fight nobody. And the reason why I say this is because it's like once she start, it's like when y'all know when Porsha got on Kenya and she tried to contain herself as much as she could when Kenya was with that horn, and she just blacked out on Kenya. So I think now before she goes there, she just leave. That could be it, or it could be just her not wanting to have a conversation. But y'all, this whole situation, I am over it. Like I said before, I think they all was in cahoots. Then I don't know if they all was in cahoots, but I do know Porsha feels away because I feel like we know she can't talk about Simon. Everybody keeps saying why she ain't talking about Simon, but Simon has sent cease and desist and stuff to Bravo. So I don't think that's why they're bringing up Simon like that. That's why she's not talking about Simon. And then not only that, you know, she didn't have no storyline. Like, she can't film in her house. She can't talk about Simon. So her next storyline was Dennis. I think when she found out, like, she already knew Drew and Dennis was working together. I don't even think the working together, that was the issue. The issue was Drew filming with Dennis, and that was her backup plan. And I know a lot of y'all don't like Porsha, and a lot of y'all is saying, you know, they're working. And why I do agree. Like I tell y'all, I'm not biased. I agree. But I can see Porsha feeling like, oh, so you basically gonna think you fit to take have a storyline with my baby daddy, and I can't have a storyline with him, and you gonna use him to film. So I'm fit to take this, and I'm fit to use you as my storyline. I think that's what Porsha did, y'all. And because she didn't have nothing else to talk about, she just drug it out. Like, that's what I think she did. Now, is it right? I can't say it's right or wrong, but that's what she did. And then Drew do bring up the stuff about Porsha meeting up with Ralph. And this is what I said before, y'all. Drew wouldn't like it if Porsha met with Ralph. Y'all always like, oh, why would Porsha need to be meeting with Ralph? We knew that the whole Shamea set that up, and we knew that she was being sneaky and that she was doing it basically to get back at Drew. We all know that, right? But at the same time, I think this is finally Drew sees what Porsha was saying. Now, I do get what Drew is saying. You know, if you meeting up with Ralph, what are y'all really talking about? Because y'all not doing no work together. But at the same time, it's like, Drew, you wanted to know if Porsha would meet up with Ralph, regardless of what it was about. The same way Porsha wanted to know if you were going to be filming with Dennis. It's all the same. But I know a lot of y'all don't see it that way because Dennis and Drew are actually working, which I do agree to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, if you do some underlying sneaky to me and I do it back, it's fair game. I mean, people might not like that, but y'all can't tell people how to react to certain stuff. And that's just how it was a tit for tat situation, and it is what it is. So we see the ladies, they packing, they getting ready for their trip, and then we see Kelli. Kelli's getting ready for her trip, and she's talking to her girls, and her girls are so funny to me. I like seeing her with her kids. She's letting them know, she's going on a trip, and they like, for how long? Them girls, baby, them girls is gonna be on you. They go ask. They ain't playing no games. So she like, for how long? And she's like, for a few days. And so she let them know that, she's gonna miss the first day of school. And so they are like, well, who gonna take us? And so she was like, well, we'll see if Uncle Lamont can take y'all. Lamont is her publicist, but he's really close to them, so he like family. And so she's like, Uncle Lamont. And so one of the twins is like, oh my God, they gonna think that's our daddy. And then Kelly's like, well, you can just tell me it's your uncle, that. And the other one was like, that, right, because they don't need to be in our business anyway. I said, baby, I heard that because why? Why? Who want to know? And so the girls are like, they not really tripping about it being their first day. They just basically want to know how they gonna get to school, who gonna be there with them, that type of stuff. I know a lot of people were giving Kelli backlash, talking about she's missing the first day of school. I think Porsha retweeted something basically saying that Kelli missed the first day of school. And it's like, okay, now, y'all just go too far. I could see if this was a high school graduation or something, but do y'all not realize this is still a job? This is how Kelli is getting her money. This is one of her sources of income. It's not like she's just on a trip just all willy-nilly. This is a trip that's under a contract that she signed, and that's how she's basically feeding her kids that the other parent isn't helping. So y'all gotta cut Kelli some slack with that. And it's like, it's her first day of school. Some parents don't even get to go to their kids' first day of school, and they right here in the same city because they gotta go to work and their job don't want to let them off. So it's really the same thing. She just going somewhere else. She's just not in Atlanta. Like, give her some grace. It's gonna be more the first days of school. She can FaceTime them while they are getting ready for school, and even before they get out the car and going into the school. Like, y'all gotta chill. Some of y'all, I think y'all just be saying stuff because it sounds good on the internet, and y'all don't even be living like that for real. But that's neither here nor there. So Kelli goes on. She goes to go talk to Lamont and her friend. I think her friend name was Erica or something like that. But she goes to talk to her friend, and Lamont she tell him that the girls want him to take them to school, and so he's like, okay, I got you. So she let him know that you gotta go to 3 different schools, and that the twins gotta be at school at 7 a.m. So you gotta be up. And he like, when you coming back? He also lets her know that he called Mark. Mark is Kelli's ex-husband. And, Kelli says that Mark is who hired Lamont. They were basically really cool. So, he called him because he probably on some bro, what we doing? Like, at the end of the day, you and Kelli got your issues, but yet you still got 3 kids over here, that you need to handle business on, since you basically then act like you don't fool with the oldest one because she's not yours, even though you helped raise her. Like, that just tells a lot about him. Like, you was in this little girl life most of the time, but you don't want to fool with her no more because you broke up with her mama. Like, that says a lot about a person's character and what type of person he is. But so, Kelli, she's asking him, well, what did he say? And he's like, he was saying no to everything. And Kelli says that she believed Lamont called him because he wants him to do the right thing, basically what I just said. And Kelli, she's taken aback, like, I can't believe that he's saying no to his kids. Like, you don't have to fool with me, but you need to do right by your kids. You ain't gotta do right by with me, but you need to do right by your kids. And baby, at this point though, if he tried to with Kelli, if everything Kelli is saying is true about her having to get the restraining order, him threatening her in court and stuff, baby, I know it hurt, and I know as a mother, a person that their father not wanting to be in their life, I know that's painful, and especially as a woman, that somebody that you were married to, that you would never think would treat you like this, let alone treat his biological kids like this. I know that's hurtful, but at some point you just gotta say fuck him. Like, baby, one thing about it, God will make a way. You just gotta say F him and going on about your business, because he is a damn fool. And you not wanting to be in your kid's life just lets us even know what type of man you are. So Kelli is basically, she's hurt by that, which she has every right to be. So the ladies are on their way to Grenada, and y'all, that man with that red tongue, baby, I was like, hold on now. He kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like, hold on, sir. But the ladies, they're basically arriving to Grenada, and they're on their way. And basically, everybody is bringing good energy. I'm so glad that Angela got her some braids, baby, because I was like, I didn't want to see Angela in her wig, because wigs aren't for everybody, and it's okay, because I don't wear wigs. So if you don't know how to tape it down and stuff, baby, braids is the safest thing to do. So all the ladies, are gathered up. Angela does say, she's looking forward to meeting Phaedra. She's heard a lot about Phaedra, but she want to get to know Phaedra for herself, because that's what real people do. Like, real people get to know people for themselves and not go off of what somebody done told them, or little snippets that they done seen on the TV, because we know these shows are chopped and screwed and heavily edited. So, okay, she's like, I want to get to know Phaedra for myself, so I'm open to that. Phaedra, Miss Park. Girl, like, we love Phaedra for her shade, right? Some of her shade. But it's just, that's the shade that she threw at Angela was very mean girlish. And I cannot defend this. Phaedra, you was talking about the ladies on Married to Med being mean, and baby, you doing the same thing that they did. She said, I don't know much about Angela. What did she say? She is the youngest, oldest looking woman I know. And y'all know how she make those faces and stuff. And it's like, Phaedra, like, that was unwarranted. I can see if Angela did something to you, but to just say that out of the blue, like, that's giving very haterish. Like, and then not only that, Phaedra, you've had a lot of work done. Let's be clear. Let's be real clear. When Phaedra first stepped on the scene, you did not look how you look now, baby. Like, let's be clear. So Drew is late. I'm like, baby, maybe Drew is really going through it, because Drew has been late to most of the things, most of everything that they have going on. Drew has been late to. Like, Drew, girl, you gotta get it together. You ain't been on Watch What Happens Live. I don't know what's going on, but you gotta get it together with your being late. Shamea bag is left in Atlanta, so she's, basically, she's like, oh, she don't have no clothes, but which we find out she do have something in her carry-on, which, if you travel, which Shamea should know this, which I guess she did, because she do have a couple outfits. But when you travel, if this is for somebody who don't travel or whatever the case is, if you gonna check a bag in that carry-on, you need to have you at least 1 or 2 outfits, depending on how long you stand. If you can get a few outfits in there, baby, if you don't even have to check a bag, don't. But if you just gotta check a bag, you need to make sure you got a few outfits in that carry-on. Your toothbrush, your hair, whatever you need for your hair, makeup if you need your makeup, anything that you need, basically. you need to make sure you got it in that check bag because, I mean, in that carry-on bag. That way, we don't got no problems like Shamea got. Like, they won't have her back to the next day. And, baby, ain't nobody got time to be playing with Atlanta. And it ain't even just Atlanta airport. It's a lot of these airports will leave your stuff. So, you're gonna check a bag, that's just something to remember. I always have the stuff that you need, underwear, all that, in a carry-on. That way, you good if your bags get left. And if you don't gotta check a bag, then try to get everything in the carry-on. So the ladies arrived to Grenada, and we got Porsha, Shamea, Brit, and Kelli in the car, and then they got Drew, Cynthia, Phaedra, excuse me, and Angela in the car. And y'all know the car that Porsha them is in, they turned up. They taking shots. They ready to have a good time. And in the car with Phaedra and Angela, it's just like crickets. So Phaedra, asked, well, who beefing? Basically trying to get the rundown on the tea, basically. And so Angela is like, Drew is the beef. Everybody beefing with Drew. And, Drew just basically, Phaedra, here goes Phaedra with the same mean girl shit. Like, and this is what you just call mean and unwanted and nasty. I know some people saying that they feel like Porsha may have tagged Phaedra in. I don't know. They said, oh, Porsha might have got Phaedra to do her dirty work. I don't know. It could have been Porsha. It could be just production because, Phaedra came in at the last minute. Or it could just be Phaedra. She coming in at the last minute and she like, hey, I gotta come in and I gotta basically do my job. I gotta get the people talking. And so she's just like, I don't know much about Drew. She has odd fashions. She said odd or weird fashions. Which Drew stepped her game up this season. Like, Drew has been looking good. I'm proud of her. But she's like, she has odd or weird fashions. And what else did she say? She's making all of those faces. And she said, what did she say? That Drew is only known for black movies. And then, so production, they put up, a little banner to let us know that Drew was in Step It Up. And that's not a black movie. But my thing is, why you got, it's okay with the fun shade. But when you start taking digs and basically getting personal with stuff, that's where the issue lies. Like, that's very meanish, haterish. Like, it don't matter if she was in all black movies, baby. She's a black woman. We're going to represent to the fucking fullest. Like, that kind of pissed me off. And not only that, Phaedra, you just said you don't know much about Drew. So why you going so hard for her, at her? Or in the stuff that you saying about Angela. That made me okay, Phaedra. People was happy to see you back. But if this is what you're going to be bringing, then, baby, you can go. Because it's not even fun shade. It's like you're taking a dig at her, and it's almost like you are a hater. And we know you have stuff going on for yourself, Phaedra, but you're not the only one. And let's keep it all the way a buck. I knew of Drew. I'm talking for myself. I knew of Drew Sidora before I knew of Phaedra Parks, if we want to keep it a buck. We all, baby, was in love with Darwin and was mad that she took med school men. So what are we saying? And not only that, it's like, then she's talking about her fashions and stuff. Okay, she had to step her clothing game up. That's cool. But one thing y'all cannot deny, Drew is a very pretty woman, and she's naturally pretty. Now check that tea. So Drew basically says that, she says that she basically still had the issue with Shamea because Shamea went on Big Tigger's show and basically was calling her a liar. And in this point, Drew wasn't lying. She was saying 5 love languages, but Shamea was so gun-ho on going at Drew that she didn't realize that she was talking about 5 love languages. She thought that she was talking about she speak 5 languages. So that's why, like, Shamea just going at anything for Drew because, like I said before, that lap dog come and hit her in the chest and baby, it hurt her heart. So she can't let it go. So now, basically, they arrive and they're talking about which rooms they're getting. So Shamea and Kelli are letting them know which rooms they're getting. Porsha says she's not looking forward to sharing a room with anybody, which I understand that, but we learned that they are sharing a suite, so they still have their own separate rooms. Excuse me, y'all. So we learned that Porsha and Angela will be sharing a room. Angela's like, baby, I don't mind sharing a room with Porsha. Long as Charles is safe at home. He's safe at home, so we good. Phaedra and Brit is sharing a room. Phaedra talking about, I like strangers, and Brit looked like a party girl, so she's cool with that. And then Cynthia and Drew. And here goes Cynthia. Give me Drew. I take Drew. Drew, come on. Basically, like, don't nobody want Drew. I take Drew. But the catch with Drew and Cynthia's room is it's still a suite, and they still have separate rooms, but it's one king bed in the room, and then in the other room is two twin size beds. Which the twin size bed look nice and comfortable. But it's like y'all playing in Drew's face now at this point. And even Porsha was like, Drew ain't have no problem with nobody with me. Why y'all doing her like that? So they playing in Drew's face. Drew and Cynthia decide to arm wrestle for the room. And baby, Drew then took Cynthia down for this room. So Shamea and Kelli are talking, and Kelli asks Shamea how does she feel about Phaedra being there. Shamea is like, oh, she's cool. She's cool. She basically really have a problem with Drew because Drew has tagged her in a post and said that Shamea is creating imaginary beef. And I don't think Drew is wrong in this because Shamea, you started it. Don't get on no radio station talking about me, and then when I put it out, I respond. Now you feel like I'm coming for you. Baby, you came for me. So it is what it is. So basically, Shamea is mad at Drew. And, Kelli is like, well, maybe they need to talk. Y'all need to talk. And Shamea is like, well, what we going to talk about? And she's like, y'all can come to some type of resolve. But we know Shamea is hurt about that lapdog coming. And she just don't know. she ain't letting it go. So then we see Drew and Cynthia go to their room. And, they're looking at their room. Drew, being nice, she said, I take the room. Because Drew's room is not that bad. Like I said before, the beds look like they are nice and plush. And then they have good comforters on them. Like, push them together, girl. You'll be okay. But she does give Cynthia the room with the king size bed, and she see how nice Cynthia's room is, and she's kind of like, dang, I should have waited to give her the room. So her and Cynthia go talk, and Cynthia is telling us about her man in Amsterdam, baby, and she's like, this is somebody that she's dated. He's not nobody like she's ever been with. She's like, he's younger, he got long dreads, basically he blowing her back in. And she enjoying it, baby. Amsterdam is putting it down. And so, she's asking Drew, she's like, oh, Drew, you're dating? Did y'all catch that though? Because she's like, Drew, you dating? So, which means it might be some truth to what Porsha said, but of course, if it is, she ain't want to say it on the show. So I get that and I understand that. And so she's like, I'm not dating. She's like, I have friends. I'm meeting people as friends right now. So she's like, Cynthia's like, friends with benefits. She's like, no benefits. She basically, Drew is like, it wouldn't benefit me right now in the game with Ralph going through this divorce. And it's just like, I'm the Drew and Ralph divorce of it all, y'all. I'm not gonna say that I go back and forth with that situation. It's like I feel like sometimes her and Ralph are in cahoots together, and it's not as bad. I do think they are going through a divorce. I do, but I don't think it's bad as she's making it to be. But on the other hand, they may not even be going through a divorce because y'all, Ralston posted footage, recent footage, and he up cooking and Drew is eating out. He's feeding Drew. And people are saying, oh, well, they got a co-parent. And it's like, I get that and I understand that 100%. Like the co-parenting of it all. But if I'm just co-parenting with you, I don't need you feeding me nothing. I don't need none of it. And so that makes me like kind of side eye Drew sometimes. So Drew then, let Cynthia know that she's finally sat down with Porsha. And she's like, but before I got to sit down, I found out that she was meeting with Ralph, which is so convenient. Before they go sit down, you found out that she was meeting with Ralph. Just like before the dinner, Porsha found out that you was filming with Dennis. Like, we know it's production. And so she finds that out and she's like, the only reason for her and Ralph would be to talk about me. And I agree, but she's like, I basically filmed with Dennis and we're working. I agree with that too. But Cynthia said, and this is kind of how I looked at the situation. And I know some of y'all don't like this point of view, and that's okay. Like, I'm not asking nobody to agree with me, but this is just kind of how I see the situation. Like, I can see it from both sides, but I see Porsha's side as well. So Cynthia's basically like, well, Porsha like to get her lick back. And she's just like, Drew had filmed with Dennis and Porsha didn't like it. Porsha had filmed with Ralph and Drew didn't like it. And now y'all even, let it go. And that's how I feel about it. Like, now one of y'all liked it. Drew, you see, even though if it was malicious intent, you didn't want her filming with Ralph. Even if you and Ralph was working together, you owed her that courtesy to let her know. Even though we know Porsha kind of ran away from it, could have texted her and told her. And that way she couldn't say that you was running from her and she didn't know. So, like I said, I see both sides. Both of y'all have filmed with this man. It is what it is. Let it go. Move on. So the ladies have all gotten ready and they're on their way out to dinner. We learned that Shamea did have a change of clothes. She said that she put 2 outfits in her carry-on and she looks good. I liked what she had on. The ladies are ready. They gone out. Phaedra and Brit, I guess they seen a naked man and maybe Phaedra was trying to see his she's trying to see it, but she didn't get to see it. And the ladies all get in the car. Porsha and Drew is in the car together. Porsha is like, I'm just not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna enjoy Drew in quiet. And basically Porsha is on this the little ride fake on it, like, Porsha, be for real. Shamea is in the car with Phaedra, and basically she's asking Phaedra about the funeral business, and Shamea is like, she want to go to basically see what it's all about. Like, this is why I say, y'all, Shamea be trying to be friends with anybody. Shamea do not care, baby. She go hang with you, your cousin, your mama, your uncle, your sister, your brother, and your enemy down the street, baby. She do not care. So the ladies all, arrived to dinner, and here go Brit. Oh, I'm nauseous. I'm a little nauseous. I think those tequila shots got me nauseous. Brit just wants some attention. Ain't nobody even paying her no attention. Like, girl. So as the ladies sit down and eat, Phaedra's telling them about the man that they seen in the window that was naked. And Porsha is like, well, maybe it was a masseuse. Porsha, just because he a masseuse, why would he be naked now? And so Shamea was like, not Shamea, Kelli is like, oh, well, maybe he give y'all a happy ending, something about a happy ending. Basically, when she get a massage, she get a happy ending. And basically, they like, we ain't never had that. Portia's like, I ain't never had no happy ending. And so Shamea is like, well, I have. Shamea, wait, not Shamea, Kelli, y'all. Kelli said this. Kelli, where you getting them happy endings at, girl? Like, what? And the production, they asked her, and she's like, she ain't telling them. So moving right along. Here go Kelli, trying to get the ladies together. ready to reset and have some resolve. So basically, she calls out Drew about what her and Shamea is going through. And, you know, Shamea is just basically like, she called me a lapdog. You tagged me on Instagram. And Kelli was, and Drew was like, yeah, I did, you know, like, you're on here basically creating imaginary beef. And Shamea is acting like she don't know why. And so Drew was like, well, hit dog holler. Drew, you 18. And so here goes Shamea. That way everybody was like, why you don't call her a dog? And so Drew was like, when she started barking, y'all remember, roof, 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 kiss my motherfucking ass, bitch. Y'all remember her saying that last week? And so she barking, so if a hit dog, holler. And so here go Kelli. Well, she bite, and she bite. Y'all, that left dog come and go for Kelli too, because Kelli is now Shamea's minion. So y'all catch that tea. Catch that. So Kelli, if she bites you. And so Drew is just basically like, you know, she took stuff back to Porsha that I said, and basically told Porsha about the whole Pilar and the college stuff that she said about the royalties for college. And so we all know at this point in the game, Shamea took it back to Porsha and she basically added some stank on it, and she didn't take it back to Porsha the way Drew said it. And then I think it was light fun shade. It wasn't nothing like where she was trying to be funny. Like, I think if anything, the part that she could have took offense to is when Drew said, well, when Shamea said that her college fund was already paid for, when she said, well, she can get some snacks or something, you know. That's when I feel like Drew was trying to be funny, but I don't feel like it was that deep. And I don't think Porsha felt it was that deep either, because Porsha didn't even ask for like an apology for it. She's just like, well, Shamea wants an apology for the lapdog coming. And so Drew is just basically like, well, I've said that Shamea was a lapdog because she brought the information back to you. And so here we go. Shamea basically saying, you know, Drew has a problem with everybody. Well, Kelli said Drew has a problem with everybody except for Cynthia. And I'm like, when the hell did everybody find out with Drew? Like, we all watching the same show. Like, Kelli, now you got a problem with Drew because you up Shamea ass. We knew Porsha and Drew had a problem together, and we knew Shamea and Drew had a problem. When did everybody else fall out with Drew? And so she's talking about everybody got a problem with Drew except for Angela. And I'm like, so except for Cynthia. So when did Angela and Drew fall out? Like, how? So basically, it all come back full circle to Shamea. Shamea is the common denominator here. Because I don't know if y'all remember, first episode, Shamea is the person who told Porsha that Drew and Dennis was in the club, dressed alike, and people was basically asking around. She said her friend seen them in the club and was asking if they a couple. Catch that tea. And then Shamea went to Angela and Drew and started talking about Porsha. Catch that tea. And now that Drew has said something that hurt Shamea's feelings, now she's trying to backtrack. So that's why I be saying y'all are on Porsha neck because of the whole Simon situation, which at this point I don't give a damn about none of that. But y'all on Porsha neck and keep saying, oh, Porsha has always treated Shamea mean, and Porsha is this and Porsha is that. And like I keep saying, Shamea is not a saint. Shamea is not innocent. Like, Shamea is the common denominator in all this mess. She takes stuff back to Porsha in a way that she knows is gonna get Porsha riled up. Like, I don't know how y'all not seeing this. Like, Shamea has really basically disappointed me. I had high hopes for Shamea, but now I kind of see why Bravo has had her as a friend. I don't know if y'all see it. Like, a lot of people was blinded by Shamea's quiet wealth. And like I'm gonna always give her accolades because you're doing your thing. Like I'm gonna, you know, but I'm gonna say too that she's not innocent. It's just not Porsha. But anyways, apparently Drew got a problem with everybody out. So Drew basically, she tells Porsha, you know, why she's mad and she didn't mean it like that. And so her and Porsha go back and forth a little bit. And you know, Porsha did take some accountability and say, you know, I didn't use the right words at Shamea's party. I could have said stuff better. You know, I came at you wrong. And she, you know, I do wish Drew would have let Porsha keep talking, because it's like, soon as Porsha started taking some accountability, Drew was so taken aback. She's like, oh, well, let's give it up for that. And you never said that. And it's like, damn, let her finish. Because I feel like they started clapping and it was like, okay, we getting somewhere. And Porsha's like, this is growth. And then she didn't really get to finish exactly what she was saying. So basically, Porsha brought it up back about Drew saying that she was messing with Future. And, you know, Drew was like, well, you said that I was messing with Black. And Porsha's like, if you was just messing with Black, why would you let me think that you was messing with Dennis? Like, I am tired of all of this. I feel like Drew and Dennis did this together because they both needed a storyline. If Dennis want to promote his stuff, and I think at the time, Drew and Dennis may have already came up with this before Porsha left Simon, and they had already had this plan. And then Porsha came back into the picture with with Dennis, because she couldn't no longer film with Simon, couldn't talk about Simon. So she was going to bring Baby Daddy in. Baby Daddy had already made some up with Drew, and this is what we got. Like I keep saying, I still think they all was in it together, but that's neither here nor there. Drew lets Porsha know that she still feels a certain type of way about her filming with Ralph. Porsha's like, I was invited to the dinner. That's another thing. Y'all keep saying it's just Porsha. Shamea set up the whole thing with Ralph. She keep talking about a damn podcast. And my thing is, why is Ralph coming to you for podcast advice? Because you said a podcast advice, and you said y'all did a podcast together. I knew nothing about this podcast until this show. I'm not saying they didn't do it, but I'm just saying it's not no big successful podcast that's in our face, because we haven't heard about it like that. So my thing is, why is Ralph coming to you for podcast advice? I feel like Shamea and Ralph got together. They brought in Porsha, and Shamea wanted to may have wanted it to look like it was all Porsha. She wanted to show Porsha in a negative light. I don't see how y'all are not seeing this. I'm starting to believe the whole Shamea is calculated stuff that Angela was saying, and she was playing the long game. Then we gotta know Shamea and Kendi is like this. I like Kendi, but like I say, I'm not biased. Like I feel like that's what Kendi used to do. Kendi used to do little stuff and hide her hand. And we know Shamea and Kendi are. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kendi told her some stuff on what to do. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. They finally decide to come to some type of resolve. Kelli, when they started getting out of hand, brought out a crystal. Porsha's like, hold on, what type of crystal is that? Which, baby, I don't blame you, because don't be with all that stuff. They get to some type of resolve. I forgot to mention that it is Angela's 8th wedding anniversary. They like, why she on the trip with us? We'll see more about that next episode, y'all. I'm tired of talking about Drew and Porsha. Like, I feel like I am tired of this whole storyline. So, baby, maybe they could work it out. Phaedra did come up with something and say, why would y'all think that y'all are going to talk about Shamea talk about Porsha to Shamea and she not take it back to her friend, which I've been said that. But at the same time, I cannot help but think that Shamea is kind of playing the long game. Like, she basically I think she was trying to play everybody to see Porsha in a bad light. But it backfired with Drew, because she didn't think that Drew was going to come at her. Because the thing about it is, and I am proud of Drew for taking up for herself and for actually talking and saying what she have to say in front of them and not waiting until she get into confessionals and say little slick shit. I am so proud of Drew with standing her ground, because I think that Shamea saw Drew as an easy target. She thought Drew was the weakest and wasn't gonna say nothing, because most of the time Drew don't say nothing. She'll say stuff in confessionals, but not to your face. But Drew said, no, I'm motherfucking tired. And she said something back. So, like, I don't know how true this is, but I can't help but see that side of Shamea. I am kind of disappointed in Shamea, because I had high hopes for Shamea. But y'all can say what y'all want to say about Porsha. I know y'all don't like Porsha, but it's just not Porsha. It's just not Porsha. And I don't know how y'all don't see it. But yeah, and here go Brit, y'all. Brit just had to insert herself in something, because she said she was being too quiet. She gotta let people know she's still here. Brit, Phaedra, I just want to let you know that Apollo and his wife was invited to my event. They were invited by Mike. I just want to let you know I haven't had any relationship or anything with Apollo, any relations or anything. So I just thought I should let you know. Phaedra's looking like everybody looking at her, really like, girl, what in the hell? And Phaedra's like, baby, oh, you good. Baby, Apollo is a whole married man. Well, I think they going through a divorce now, but at the time, he was a whole married man to a whole nother woman. Phaedra don't give a damn, girl. And Shamea is like, Brit, read the room. Like, ain't nobody talking about Apollo and Phaedra, basically, but we is still talking about your being hungry when we left your event. Like, Brit is, I told y'all, Brit is not working with a full deck, y'all. Brit is not working with a full deck. Baby, I will say Shamea had some funny moments this episode, because when she said that we left that event hungry, and when she bought that stuff and she was like, that box was buried naked. I don't know what Brit is doing, baby. Brit is just here. She's just here for the ride at this point. But anyways, so that was it. That was the end of the episode. Don't y'all forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.